Hello, this is Amanda Malave with BUS312, and today we're going to go over Chapter 1 through 6 Study Guide for Exam 1. Here is a link where you can actually watch this video. It's also available on YouTube. The exam, like all three exams, will be 90 minutes long, and it is on average about 70 minutes that most students take. It's two parts. One is 35 questions for 4 points each, which is about 70% of the grade. It's a total of 200 points. Make sure that you really divide your time because the cases will take a little bit longer. Make sure that you actually read all of the exam questions. There's long exam questions which you have to make sure that you understand. And there's an example here below. These are very similar to simulations, and you need to understand what it's about. So this particular question is about a company who built a small store, a convenience store near a lake. Over the years, it got bigger and bigger and bigger, but it first started out with small cottages in the 1950s and 60s. Then in the 1970s, it got to be more of a speedboat resort type of area, the boating area. And so the Casey's Brickley, the landing, which is the convenience store, got bigger. And then in the 1980s, it got even bigger. And then in the 2000s, it actually became upscale. And the families were actually spending a lot more time on speedboats. And so from there, they decided that they wanted to compete, and they actually created a bar and a lounge. We also have information here that many of the cottages were inherited to children and grandchildren of the original owners. So you have to really read this and understand that the original owners are in the 1950s and 60s. So there'll be a couple of questions right under it. And the best way to do this is just to highlight areas and to understand what you're doing, and to remove the questions and answers that you already know aren't real. So which of the following is the macroeconomic environmental force that affects the landing the most? So if you think about this, it's not the weather, it's not the fact that it's a lake, but it's the type of people that are coming during each generation, because they have different needs and wants. Some of them want small cottages, some of them want upscale. So it's the demographic environment that impacts them the most. Then the next question is, which of the following generational groups represents the present owners? So we know that the present owners inherited houses from their grandparents, and the grandparents bought them in the 1950s and 60s. So obviously it wouldn't be like the millennials, right? They wouldn't be able to potentially have or afford the upscale homes because they're still in college. There's no lost generation. It's the baby boomers actually were the ones who bought the cottages, so it wouldn't be that. And it's just between these two. And so because we didn't really study any echo boomers, because there's no such thing as that, then the answer would be Generation Xers. So that's how you do the longer questions. Then there's a second part, which is written cases. They're 30 points each for a total of 60 points. You're going to have 5 chapters, cases that you have to read, and then you have to do a write-up. Make sure that you read it because the case will not be provided for you. You can even write it up beforehand if you'd like, I guess. And you need to complete cases in the required format. Do not plagiarize. Do not use anybody else's. I actually have a tool that lets me know if things are plagiarized. And then you need to make sure that you actually do this. If you're not doing this, then you're going to have issues, because doing the cases is part of the course. If you skip it, there will be concerns and issues of you not meeting the course requirements. You need to make sure that you study the study plan, chapter quizzes, and do all the homeworks and ethics forums and cases. If you don't do them, you won't be able to take the exams. It's all or nothing. So you need to make sure you do your homework. And it's not just by clicking on it, but specifically on the forums, you have to actually participate. So here is a video on how to view your study plans, but I'll take you to La Lima real quick, and I'll show you where the study plans are. Under My Marketing Lab, you click on My Study Plan, and here it will take you to everything you need to study for Chapter 1. That's a prerequisite. So if you want to see the progress and where you are, you will see what areas you need to actually complete for each chapter before the exam, and you need to get these completed. What we find is if you do these exercises, that you will actually improve your grade overall. So by the end of chapter 6, a lot of this will be filled in, and the only remaining open areas should be the ones that you haven't mastered yet. So you would click on the area that you don't master, and then you would do a practice or quiz me. And you have to make sure that you do that correctly so that you understand the concepts so that you can take the exam. And then the last section on the study plan is all chapters. So it kind of gives you all the chapters and every part that you actually master, don't master. Again, if it has a little pin on it, that means that it's recommending that you do that objective. And if it has a little cap on it, means that you've mastered it. You can also make sure that you click on this so it shows you what areas you should be studying. So it'll go by order. And this tells you how many you've completed. And again, the progress is here. And there's 96 sections, but a lot of this will be finished as you actually complete each assignment. Okay, so that's the study plan. So from there, we will go into some study tips. Again, you need to make sure you review the videos. They are available on My Marketing Lab. If you go into My Marketing Lab and your assignments, they can be seen here. So I'm going to go to all assignments, and you can see them on each assignment, and you can grab them from there if you're having any issues getting onto YouTube. So you can just click on any instructor video and watch it again. You can actually go to YouTube under the University of Hawaii. There's all those videos there as well. And there's the links here too. Again, you must study the study plan. You need to make sure that you're reading the cases. And what I really suggest that you do is you actually go to My Marketing Lab and La Lima and go under Resources. When you click under Resources, you actually have all of the PowerPoints. And when you open up the PowerPoints, let's just open up Chapter 1 PowerPoint, you will see that there's different slides. And if the slide has a target on it, then that means that that is an important slide for the exams. That's also discussed in detail with examples on the videos, the instructor videos. So from there, I think you have everything that you need. You need to read the cases, and we'll go through that in a minute. You need to review the chapter, chapter endings, and then also, again, you can go under La Lima, under Resources, and view the lectures. So let's go over Chapter 1 in detail, and then I'll let you do all of the other chapters on your own. So again, if you're going to study Chapter 1, the first thing that I'm saying is review chapter, actually go and read the e-text, look at the videos, and look at the PowerPoints. So you would do that. The next thing I say is review the chapter review at the very end and the objectives terms. That's on page 32 on the e-text. So if we go to the e-text and you actually go to the table of contents, you go to Chapter 1, and at the very end of every chapter, there's something called reviewing and extending the concepts. So this gives you a great overview of all the objectives and all of the concepts. So that's a really good study guide. And then you also have your terms. So if you click on these terms, it'll actually take you to the section where that's actually at, and you can read it in detail. So I think that that's a really good way to practice. The next thing you want to do is make sure you complete your study plan, and we've talked about that in detail. And then I actually go into real detail about which objectives and the sections of the objectives you need to understand. So objective number 1 is know the 5 steps of the marketing process. So you would actually go here to the chapter slides or to the e-text if you'd like. So I'm going to go to objective number 1, and it's the 5 steps of the marketing process that you need to understand. So let's go find that. Here we go. So here's the 5 steps of the marketing process. Okay, so from there, it says understand but don't memorize the 5 core marketplace objectives. Objective number 3 is know key elements of customer-driven marketing. So I'm just going to show you another example. It should be on the PowerPoint. So let's go to objective 3. And these are all of the different steps right here. The decision of the marketplace concept, so right here. And again, there's a target here. So that means that it's part of the exam. So basically, you just have to align the exam to the PowerPoints, or you can actually go to your e-text right here and go to objective number 3. And all the information should be here. Okay, so keep going. Then the last thing for each chapter is a case. The case is Chick-fil-A getting better before getting bigger, and it's on page 35 in the e-text. So you would go to the e-text and you would click the little search button, and you could either put Chick-fil-A and it will take you to the company case, and then you can click on that. And here you go. So you would actually read the Chick-fil-A company case. Or you could click on 35. And it will take you to page 35. Where it says page info. And here you go. So here you would actually find the Chick-fil-A case, which is right here. So then you would read all of this. Okay. So you would need to make sure that you understood that case and were able to create a little case review. So at the very end of the rubric is the process of doing the cases. So you'll read the description, and I would suggest again that you practice prior to the exam. The case write-up has these parts that are required: a summary statement of what the case is about, 3 relevant chapter concepts. So if the case is related to chapter 1, then I want concepts related to chapter 1, not chapter 5, 6, or 7, but chapter 1, and specifically what that case is trying to teach you. Then there's 2 points for a tie-in specifically to the cases that we're talking about in the reviews. In this particular case for chapter 1, what you need to know is what case are we looking at, or what company are we looking at. And in this particular case for chapter 1, it's about Amazon, and Amazon's about really understanding needs and wants. So how does that tie to the Chick-fil-A case? Then from there, who's the target market? And it must be correct. you'll have to identify that. And then what is it, the core product that they're trying to offer? Again, plagiarism would be an automatic 0. So don't copy from previous exams or from neighbors or your friends, because you will get a 0 on the entire exam. And if you don't use a required format, you will get a 0. So let's talk about what that required format is. So here's an example. This is Buffalo Wild Wings. The case is also in the e-text if you wanted to look at it. So I'll put Buffalo. There we go. And so I'm going to find the case. So here it is. And what's interesting about these cases is if it's not at the end of the chapter, read the paragraph right before the case. This case is about brand experiences. So that's one of the key concepts. You could also take a look at this chapter, or this case is about product, services, and experiences. So market offerings. I mean, everything that this case is about is told to you right before it introduces the case. So you would read this case, and then you would do that write-up. So your case has to have a summary statement, 3 chapter-related concepts, a target market clearly identified, the core offering clearly identified, and it has to be right, not just somewhat, but right. All the answers are in each case, and what chapter, lecture, video presentation, again, based off of the PowerPoint slides, it is similar to. So in this case, it's similar to chapter 1. The Amazon case, and also Buffalo Wild Wings places a customer in the middle, just like Amazon does. So let's take a look at how the exam would look. So when we go to the exam, it tells you how much time is remaining. And when you enter in the actual passcode, you'll have a secret passcode I will give to you before the exam. It'll let you go in and start timing it. And if you click on these little arrows, you can actually go to the case studies first. So there's one case study, and there's the second one. And remember that everybody's got different order of their questions, so it'll be random. Note here that it tells you what case it is. So this is chapter 18. For example, on this one, this is not the case that's going to be here. I didn't want to put the actual case. So here's just another example. And then it says use the format that is required. And here is the breakdown. So it tells you everything that you need to have, the summary statement, the 3 chapter concepts, etc. Here's the rubric. And this is a button at the very end where you can actually see an example. You can actually even copy and paste this so you have the template, and you would actually copy it and paste it in this section right here. You can bold things, you can italics, you got buttons. So I wrote this up. I just did the general overview. So the format is this. You have a summary statement, and it clearly shows it, the 3 concepts, the target market, and then you start writing whatever you want to write. Or you start giving me the 3 concepts. 1, and they have to be sentences, not just words. I have to know that you understand this, who the target market is, the core offering, and then the lecture tie-in. And then once you do that, and you can actually submit the answer, and then you would submit the test. You can always go back and forth to questions by just clicking the little arrow, or going back and forth here. So again, you have all the information you need. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns. But this chapter by chapter exam review should be everything that you need to be successful in this exam. I will also be having reviews, and I will give you information about those live reviews, whether it's on a meeting request or through announcements. Mahalo.